Yeah, it feels pretty good. We've casted a lot of games to get here. I mean, group stages are tough, man. They're tough to cast. I mean, just so many games to get through and your voice gets knackered. Not that they're not fun, but wow, it's a lot of work.
Yep, and we still have a lot of great games ahead of us, and they're just going to keep getting better and better. So,
You know
Elegant,
it.
if you would please call out the players.
I would indeed. At the top left-hand corner, spawning in as the orange Zerg, we have ISL3 Pike. And in the bottom left-hand corner, spawning in as the brown Terran, we have ISL3 Bizzy. And I believe, as I've already mentioned, I'm quite excited about seeing Bizzy play. I've always enjoyed his style. He has a very aggressive style, quite characteristic of how you often see foreigners play. You know, he really kind of goes all out and doesn't pull any punches. And I think that's one of the best styles to watch. You got anything to say for us on Pike?
On Pike, the quintessential solid player. He's been around for a long time, supporting LRM's team. Just plays really solidly in every matchup and doesn't make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
He's a little bit more on the passive side at times, but I haven't had the opportunity to see a lot of his versus Terran. Would be that, as it's just not a lot of Terrans to go around. So we'll have to see specifically how he plays this matchup.
Yeah, that's yet another reason to root for Bizzy as well, oddly enough. I mean, I don't wish to hate on Pike, but yeah, it's just great to have Terrans coming into the later stages of the tournaments just to provide that variety. I mean, we all fear ZVZ finals. Not that they can't be cool, but they're often very short and a bit hard to watch for the average viewer. Yeah, Terran gives a bit of interesting variety to things.
Yeah, I definitely have a soft spot in my heart for the that certain style of very aggressive Terran. It's some of the most fun StarCraft you can watch, and I really hope,
especially in Terran versus Zerg,
especially in Terran versus Zerg, the iconic StarCraft matchup. I really hope that he's able to get his aggression off the ground, and we don't see it just sputter out, because that's not going to be fun. Win or lose, we want to see him put his best foot forward.
Well, absolutely. We want to see that from all the players. I'm sure they will be. Whether some of them are speaking of doom and gloom in the thread, saying, "Oh, I'm not going to win," I'm sure that they can put up a decent fight. At least these are all very, very strong players in their own right. And Bizzy, I believe his SCV went into the base of Pike, but then left again.
No, there was a drone blocking the ramp. It didn't quite
There's
get
a drone blocking it. Oh, okay, I see. So we now finally have the Zerglings coming out from Pike off the back of, I believe it was a 9-pull, and then he did the gas trick as well to get that one extra drone out, laying down the hatchery now as well, and the Zerglings on their way over to Bizzy's base, where he will be met by, oh my god, Bizzy's in so much trouble. The barracks is not even done yet. Bizzy's going to have to pull pretty much all of his SCVs if he's going to make it through this engagement. He's doing a little bit of a walling, but I think the Zerglings are going to actually be able to get through that.
He hasn't even scouted this.
Very, very problematic. Bizzy, why would you do something like this when you're not even able to scout? The SCV making the barracks is going to get taken down. He's going to be forced to pull every single one of his SCVs, and it's not like Pike even did anything particularly crazy or Russia orientated. It was just a pretty standard early kind of spawning pull, and this barracks is probably going to get destroyed before it even gets up, if he manages to get it up at all. And it looks like this is actually a decent enough walling so that the Zerglings aren't able to get through, but they should be able to pick off SCVs making the barracks as they do so. And Bizzy's having to do some desperate repairing now, and this is a very, very tough spot for him to be in.
Pike's not focusing on the barracks, and when he focuses on the supply depots, all the SCVs can repair it. If he had focused on the barracks before it could finish, then the SCVs wouldn't be able to repair it, and now the barracks is actually finished, and he can get a repair on it, so it's not going to go down. Pike could have easily broken through there, and I don't know why he split his Zerglings to have some attack the supply depot.
Yeah, that's an incredibly strange decision. I actually can't quite fathom why he did that. I was expecting him at any second to just switch over to the barracks and just burst right in there, because he only had one or two at any one time. But now Bizzy is finally made safe. With his first Marine out behind that wall, and he's going to be thanking his lucky stars that he got away with that, because that was really, really close stuff. And actually managed to escape with a little bit of a blunder, heading his SCV into Zerg's main now, finally getting that scout off. So no more rash builds and rash plays. He's finally going to actually know what the Zerg's up to.
That's such an uncharacteristic mistake for Pike to make. He's normally such a solid player, and that was a situation where he had won the game. I don't think that Bizzy would have a chance if Pike had destroyed that barracks. Pike's going to follow it up with some kind of 2-hatch play, but Bizzy has an... it's not a 2-hatch play, it's just a fast lair. A little bit of an odd build order, going for a much faster lair than the 3rd hatchery, but an SCV scouts it, so Bizzy can try to make sense of what exactly Pike is going to do off of that. Elegant, you have any ideas what Pike's going to follow up with?
I would imagine it's going to be fairly standard stuff. I mean, we're seeing the second gas go down at the natural now. Probably going to see the Spire be laid down quite soon as well. He hasn't stockpiled a particularly large number of minerals, and in fact, we do have the Spire being laid down now at the natural, right next to his gas. So it should be fairly normal things. Of course, with that extra hatchery in his base, he is going to be able to make up a decent number of meterlists, mining off the second gas for a decent early time as well. And I'm still just kind of reeling over how the early game actually developed. It's really incredibly strange. But all the while, Bizzy is stabilised. He's looking okay. He's got a good number of Marines behind that wall, and one of them wandering off, in fact, looking a little bit dangerous. But Pike not quite on the ball there. It seems that Marine's actually going to get away with it.
Bizzy's not just looking good, he's looking great. He opened 14 CC versus a 9 pool and got away without losing more than 2 SCVs, maybe? From ones that strayed a little bit too far out while building the barracks.
You'd imagine it would be impossible.
Bizzy could not hope for a better opening. He's going to move out now with his first few Marines. Does not have an academy. Oh, he doesn't have an academy, just no medics yet. So probably going to have to wait around for them before he can really get too far away.
Yeah, I would think so. Bizzy throwing down a fair number of racks actually at this stage, so he should be able to do some fairly decent aggression with a good number of Marines as well, taking into account the idea that he probably won't be binning them all against Mutas, which of course could happen. But it looks like, yes, there we do finally see the Spire pop. He's got a good number of minerals and gas in the bank, a good number of supply as well, so he can instantly make up a whole bunch of Mutas, and this is where the game really starts to get interesting. Looking around for an engineering bay, Bizzy does already have that engineering bay coming up at decent timing. A drone going to the top right hand corner as well, so preparing to lay down a third fairly early, which of course displays confidence in his Mutalisks. Yeah, so he's going to be able to defend that fairly well if he micros correctly. Bizzy should have a decent number of Marines out though to challenge this. A couple of medics out already too, so we'll see how that develops for him.
Yep, as you said, Bizzy could theoretically have the opportunity to move out with a small Marine force like he has now and stop that expansion from going down. But first he has to realize it, and second, he has to get past Pike's Mutalisks. And as long as Pike is making sure he doesn't lose any of them unnecessarily, he can really slow down and whittle Bizzy's forces away to the point where they really can't do any damage before the lurkers get out.
Yeah. Bizzy finds himself a little bit out in the open here with Marines, but pulls back soon enough. And now I think he's going to have to go all the way back to his naturals. The Mutalisks are in there, having a crack at those missile turrets. Only a range of one. Gradually drifting into the second one. Second missile turret is on the way up now, and it looks like those Mutalisks are going to be chased off fairly well. Bizzy unable to get that movement out on the map, which he looks like he was wanting. But he's going to keep poking out and laying down an extra barracks now as well, just so he can try and keep that back row really going. Oh, managing to catch one Mutalisk slightly off his guard. Pike not microing that entirely correctly, going for a couple of SCVs now, getting some more hits off on his Mutalist. He's not doing the damage that he needs to do. Meanwhile, back at his base, we do see that he's making a Hydra stand, so his lurker tech is going to be fairly well timed, but not quite microing his Mutalist effectively so far.
I don't know why all of Bizzy's SCVs went to the natural command center for one round. It's as if he lifted his command center momentarily and then immediately set it back down. I don't know what that was. Maybe a misclick. But anyway, Pike still has only lost a single Mutalisk, so this is a very scary pack, especially at this time. Bizzy really isn't doing much damage to it, so he's going to have to really wait for a science vessel unless Pike makes a mistake, but hasn't even started the starport yet, so science vessel is not going to be coming out for a while. And as you said, that third expansion is going to be very safe because Pike is controlling the just as I say that, flies in again. He was doing a very good job, and that's going to be costly, but not not horrid. He still has a good Mutalisk flock, but as you click around on them, you notice that they're all starting to get kind of injured, and then Pike.
Stuff. Ike seems a little bit off his game, just losing 3 Mutalisks for free, and if he's not careful, those Marines are going to stim into his crowd of Mutalisks, and they do exactly that and pick off another one. Pike losing so much in the way of his Mutalisk count, blaming it on the lag, but realistically he should be able to deal with a little bit of lag. All the while he does go into Bizzy's base, and he looks like he might get a little bit trapped here. Those Marines are going to get a nice flank on the Mutalisks, but there's barely any of them left anyway. I think there's only 3 in that flock entirely, maybe 4, but now it's down to 3. Bizzy should be able to push out on the map pretty soon, and having a look at the tech of Pike, he doesn't actually have any lurkers in the game yet. He's had that Hydra done for a little while, with the lurker upgrade pretty much finished. He's got his armor upgrade coming in now, so he might just be able to hold here if he gets some decently positioned lurkers at his rams.
it definitely looked like Pike was having a bit of an issue with the lag. But another thing to consider was that Pike was only pressuring the front, which is where Bizzy had all of his turrets. There were no turrets in the main, and where he had all of his Marines. Possibly Pike could have gone for the main the main command center a little bit sooner and be able to put some pressure on the SCVs there, and that wouldn't have been a lag issue. But I don't know. He has a really big issue right now. It's Bizzy's moving across with a very large Marine force. The lurkers are done. Does he have lurkers at his other base as well? Yes, lurkers are moving in there too. So, oh, but he's going to catch a huge pack of mutalisks here. Pike's not paying attention at all, and he's going to lose all but one. Oh, big mistake by Pike there. Oh.
Yeah, absolutely. And from the epitome of a solid player, we're seeing some really rather unsolid, shaky play here. I mean, dropping so many mutalisks pretty much for free is the last thing we'd have expected to see from this guy, but he's done almost no damage with them and has lost almost all of them at this point, so he's going to have to transition fully into the Lurker Link competition of the mid-game, leaving Bizzy in a decent shape to take this. He's got a nice concave formed at the natural, and I would imagine that he's going to start forming up some strike forces to try and deal some damage to that third base as soon as he's confident in his contain of the Zerg here.
Yeah, there are a lot of lurkers out, though. He's going to have to rely on some of those higher tech units to really deal with them. Pike's actually pushing out now with his lurkers, just trying to keep Bizzy off of him a little bit, possibly get him to go back down the ramp.
Yeah, I think it's entirely necessary because otherwise, Pike really has no map control whatsoever, and completely losing map control in a ZVT is pretty horribly disastrous. And this is going to give Bizzy, for the moment, free reign to go up and just basically siege down that top right-hand base.
Yeah, he was sending a siege tank with just 5 Marines over in that direction, but now the siege tank's coming back to support the main Marine force. But that's actually too many lurkers for a single siege tank to deal with. So he's gonna need a couple more, and alright, pulling back the siege tank, good. If he loses that first siege tank, that's going to put him behind a lot and really give Pike the breathing room he needs. But siege mood is done, and as long as Bizzy plays this smart, there is going to be no opportunity for Pike to get that, especially considering that Pike has lost all of his mutalisks.
It looked for a second there as if Pike was going to dash into the engagement with Marines, but he's not actually going to do so. There's a good number of links out as well, so I expect Pike is actually readying himself to make that big engagement, tanking the damage in with the Zerglings. Bizzy lays down a scan, so he might actually see these Zerglings and might be tempted to pull back. Even though he's got a halfway decent position, it looks like Pike uprooting his lurkers just to pull them back to a safer position, and Bizzy decides to go in, losing so many Marines in that first blast. They were a little bit overstimmed, and a lot of Marines went down immediately. That's going to make it very difficult to defend against the first wave of links as more lurkers come in, and I think Pike's going to be ready to try and take this force down very, very soon, unless Bizzy finally decides to push it back across the map. But he's doing so, reinforcing it with an extra tank and sieging up once again.
The fact that he doesn't have vision onto that high ground is certainly going to help Pike with this attack, and he's coming in, getting a pretty nice arc here. Lurker's into good position to take out one of the tanks. He's not bringing in quite all the Zerglings. He needs to be a little bit better with that. And no, it's not going to quite work out. Bizzy pulled his Marines back just in the right way to kill off all the Zerglings, and now Pike has lost all of his Lurkers, except for those 2. Oh, he has a couple back here, but the heavy number of Lurkers was really slowing Bizzy down. But now Bizzy has almost as many tanks as Pike does lurkers. And how close is Pike to Defilers?
He's quite close. He's already got the hive up. He's had it up for a little bit now. We have an Ultralisk coming in the top right-hand corner, however. He's not going straight to Defilers. This is a weird decision. I think the Ultras that are not going to be the unit he needs to really help him after that fantastic engagement by Bizzy. We are definitely seeing the Terran back on top here, and he's sieging right to the Zerg's natural, pushing in a little bit further again. He's really got the guts to go for this now, and the Zerg's going to have to desperately try to do something to defend his base here.
Pike does have does like Ultralisks a little bit more than some other Zerg players. The idea being that just a couple of those can just be a wrecking ball into the opponent's force. Scourge stopping just short, only getting 1 hit. So the Science Vessel lives, and now the Marines are stimming into the natural. Drones need to be pulled, but he's going to lose some of them on the retreat. There's only a couple Lurkers left, and where are the Ultralisks? There are a couple morphing in here, and this one attack with Ultralisk is going to be it. If these Ultralisks do not work, then there's no way Pike can save his main base, and the game will be over. And, they have to come up a ramp under siege tank fire.
Yeah, it's incredibly bad stuff. They don't even have the armor upgrade yet. Their speed upgrade has just begun, and Bizzy is pushing forward unassailably. GG from Pike, and that puts Bizzy ahead after the first game of the night in what was, to begin with, a really terrible performance, but then he definitely picked his game up and showed us why he's in this stage of the tournament.
Yeah, that's... just remember, Pike had won that game. That was Pike's game as soon as he went 9 pool versus 14 CC, and he didn't focus down that barracks.
No. He should have done it. He could have done it, and I will never know why he didn't. I guess it was just a little bit of presence of mind that he was lacking. But yeah, he just missed out on a really, really nice opportunity there.
Oh, game is up.
I'm on my way.
So, game number 2 of Bizzy versus Pike. And after a game like that, with so many, like, there were so many errors in that game that were just, like, really errors that will stick with him. Just not being able to bust in with the Lings, and then the way he lost his Mutalisks. I hope he's going to be able to shake that off, and it doesn't stick with him. He doesn't do anything really silly, like think that he needs to go for a Lurker Ling bust in the following games.
He might do. His confidence is definitely going to be rattled after that last one. It was a pretty rough game for poor Pike, I'm not going to lie. I don't know if the lag issues that she was complaining about are at all valid, but either way, it's the same for both players, so it shouldn't really apply. So I'm going to call them out. At the top of the map right now, we have ISL3 Pike spawning in as the white Zerg, and in the bottom right-hand corner of the map spawning in as the green Terran. We have ISL3 Bizzy. At this point, it would be a really, really nice thing to do if we could do a little bit of a shout-out to our sponsors. In order to do that, that means I'm going to have to get the sponsor list up, because I'm so bad at having that kind of thing ready and at hand. So here we go. I'm going to do exactly that right now. One of our sponsors, of course, the namesake of this tournament, Altitude. And if you want to check that out, go to altitudegame.com to have a look. It's a really, really nice, fun little indie game. We also have money coming into the prize pot from Twitch TV, from Prowler, and from Corum Jahalan. So big thanks to all those guys. Make sure you go over to altitudeisl.net where you can see everything that's happening and be redirected to the Altitude Game website straight from that point. So yeah, going into this game, after the massive sponsor shout out, which always leaves me a little bit out of breath, because so many people are dying to run a Brood War and hand us money so we can help their company and whatnot, which is awesome, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love that. But yeah, it takes me a little while. So now we have Bizzy. Is he going to lay down barracks? He's going to lay down a barracks, playing a little bit more safe after last game's almost calamity. We are finding ourselves right now on another reverse ramp map. So yeah, kind of a lot of similar aspects to what we saw last game. There's the couple of drones heading out now. It is actually going to be a 12 hatch from the esteemed Pike, so not going for the same things last game. Both players interestingly deciding to switch it up. Just a little bit curious to see how the mind games progress.
And we can't be quite sure whether Bizzy is going for barracks for this game because either he was worried about almost dying to the 9 pool beforehand, or just because this is a 3-player map, so your opponent will always be able to send the Lings in the correct direction, given the Overlord getting a scout off. It'll either find it or not find it. So yeah, could be map specific, could be player specific, but either way, both players are going to be completely safe, as Pike did go for a 12 hatch, and both spawning pool and hatchery about halfway done now. Well, so map is Aztec. I don't think we quite said that, which does not have a lot of Terrans on it, and it's a map that was considered really bad for Terran in Pro League. And there are certain features of this map that can make it pretty difficult for Terran. Really, just the positioning of the ramps are positions that make it really nice for Zerg and not for Terran, because you can't quite set up siege lines on the ramps. They're too big for that. Zerglings can still stream up, but placing lurkers at the top of the ramp is still really strong. And 3-player maps, in my opinion, just tend to be Zerg favored by nature. It lets the Zerg split the map split the map very nicely.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. Bizzy chuckling about something, I'm not quite sure why, but yeah, the map balance does seem to be a little bit in Pike's favour, which he will definitely be glad of after the way last game went. I mean, there's no denying that he struggled to make anything happen, so yeah, he might be able to pull it out of the bag when stats are just a little bit in his favour here as well. We already have a 3rd hatchery happening once again in Pike's base, quite early this time. Yeah. He's pulled guys off gas as well.
No, he didn't pull guys off gas.
Guys back on gas.
He went hatchery before gas. That gas had just finished.
Oh wow. That gas had only just finished just then.
Yeah. Which is...
God, yeah, I've been hanging around the busy space a little bit too long. But that's very, very late.
Which is quite peculiar, yeah. He's not going... that layer is going to be extremely late. If that's indeed what he's going for. Yeah, that layer's just going to be late. I guess he's going to go for something a little bit more Zergling focused. Maybe some kind of...
Yeah.
It might be a Zergling plus either Lurker or Mutalisk bust.
It's probably Mutalisk, because he's got that second gas up quite early. Mutalisk cost some gas, but they're not as gas heavy as Mutalisk, because Lurkers cost some gas rather, they're not as gas heavy as Mutalisks, as we all know. But the second gas is on the way up, so that kind of indicates Spire a little bit to me. Not quite sure how Pike will be thinking of it. And in the meantime, Bizzy trying to get a scout down. He might actually manage to do so, but there are a couple of lings at the ramp. Pike's not blocking his ramp effectively, though. He is now. He's got those on the ramp pretty good. But Bizzy is going to see that that second gas, as I'm sure he'll scout effectively into the natural at the very least. As long as he doesn't get caught first on the ramp. No, it doesn't look like he's going to get to the second gas. Okay, good. He's going to be at least a little bit clued up, but it is going to be Lurkers. We have a Hydra Den happening in the main base of Pike, and this could, as you say, be some kind of all-in.
Yeah, getting that hatchery that quickly really indicates that he wants to go for a lot of early Zerglings, and with the Hydralisk Den, that's queuing up for a pretty strong Lurker Ling bust. But this is what we talked about before the game that we were hoping wouldn't happen from Pike. We'd like to see Pike just trying to put that first game out of his mind and just try to play something standard, and not feel the need to go for an all-in.
Having said that, he has done a good job of denying scouting, so Bizzy might smell something up, but he won't necessarily know what, and I think that's definitely going to be the case. And he's pushing a cut out with a couple of Zerglings out, so Bizzy's actually going to try and move out onto the map, which is a good idea, just to try and get a little bit more of an image of what the Zerg's going to do, and he might actually manage to force the hand of Pike and get those Lurkers out slightly earlier than he would want them to. A couple of Sunken Colonies now happening at the front, so probably not going to happen. These Marines will not be enough to break 3 Sunken Colonies. 2 perhaps, but that 3rd creep colony is now coming in, and of course we know how quickly Sunken Colonies can actually happen. A bunch more, 1 or 2 more barracks rather I should say, being laid down in Bizzy's main, all completely natural, and a couple of fire bats too, so maybe he is expecting some kind of Zergling action.
Yeah, as you said, Bizzy only really knows what's happening now that he got scanned, just because of Pike's constant denial of the ramp, and he did get that extractor around the right time for standard 3-hatch Mutalisk play. So Bizzy's not going to be able to bust in here. 3 Sunken Colonies already down, and Lurkers not too far behind that, far too much for those Marines to handle. It's just a matter of will Bizzy be able to effectively set up defenses versus the Lurkers, which he had to have scouted by now because he scanned. Wouldn't be surprised to see the barracks go down pretty soon in the front. Barracks is the bunker, with the bunker being the very cheap, very effective anti-Lurker building you can make.
Yeah, often in a case of fear of all-in from a Terran, we do in fact see several bunkers being laid down, maybe 2 or 3, because one can actually be taken care of quite easily, and 3 bunkers, a little bit more expensive, but still pretty cheap to do. And we see Bizzy stimming in, he might actually manage to catch 1 Lurker out. Nice bit of a stim, might manage to get a second one too. Pike just manages to get that burrow down in time. Bizzy trying a little bit of cute play, but he's got a little bit too far with it. Lost about half of his Marines, so his force is going to be that little bit less potent now. Not that it's a huge game changer, but nice job sniping off the 1 Lurker there. Pike losing a little bit in the push out, but that's to be expected, I suppose. Evolution Chamber not working, and he's still on 0-0, so he probably wants to get that going. Manages to take out another Marine, but yeah, that Evolution Chamber not working could be actually pretty costly if it goes on being that way. And Bizzy almost losing. Oh, he's probably actually going to lose that Marine, but going up to check for a drone, I think, if I'm not very much mistaken. And all the while he has an SUV scouting around at the top left just to make sure nothing sneaky is going on. And Pike takes up a nice position at the top of that ramp, indicating he's probably going to be fairly soon moving out to a 3rd. In fact, we see a drone heading out now to probably do just that somewhere.
That was a cool decision by Bizzy. It didn't quite work out for him, but he realized that the Lurkers did not have Ling support at that moment. Pike was still making his Lings, so if he could, that was going to be his best opportunity to try to snipe some Lurkers. And even though he only sniped 1, there are still a lot of damaged Lurkers here, so it wasn't a complete waste. And now, here come the Lings. This is, I think, what he was trying to avoid. He didn't quite realize that the Lings are out, and now, Marines are going to be sniped. He was getting a little bit too aggressive before, but certainly now he's being too aggressive. He's going to lose all of these Marines. A couple of reinforcements coming down, but they're not going to be in time either. He actually should just pull these back. He needs something to fill up all his bunkers. He does have enough Marines at home to barely fill them up, but against a Ling Lurker bus, you just want as much firepower as possible.
Yeah, totally. Those firebats are going to come in handy. Would have come in a little bit handier if he'd have had them just a second ago when they could have actually saved the bulk of his army, but never mind. Bizzy now Stamine, he's going to try and catch a couple more lurkers off guard. Might manage to get one. He needs to take good care of his firebats. Oh, so many Marines going down. 4 Marines all in one shot. That firebat's going to go too. Biting the dust. Bizzy's losing a little bit of map control here. His first tank is now out, so that should make defense a little bit easier. Siege tech, however, is only just really started, so it's going to be a little while before that happens. And Pike still has a nice little window with which he can get up there and make life difficult for Bizzy. There's a decent number of Marines now, so he will have to go up and round the big ramp. Looks like Bizzy might actually be... No, forget what I just said. He's just kind of wandering around with that SCV over there. And we do, in fact, have a third base coming up now for Pike at a gas location. And not the one in the middle of the map, because obviously that's always very exposed, but choosing not to take his mineral only, going for the extra gas instead, so he'll probably be going for a fairly quick hive, and in fact we do see just that happening. Hive already on the way up.
Yep, I definitely like that decision to get the gas base. If you're not going to go for the double expansion of the other natural and main, you definitely want to have that third gas, and given the fact that he already has lurkers out, it's going to be pretty easy to hold that very small ramp. Just looking at the map, I'm loving Pike's Zergling split. There's so many little white dots around the map, and if Bizzy wanted to try something sneaky like go for dropships, which he has been known to do quite frequently, it would be shut down immediately, or at least be scouted, and the High Trails could try to get into the correct position. He doesn't have any Scourge to snipe it.
I think that's a very good call to have that Zergling patrolling around there. Nice little bit of presence of mind, and he's got great map presence overall. If we just look around, there's almost nowhere where he can't see. He's got a really, really nice perimeter set up in case of that kind of thing. And now we see Bizzy trying to push out. This is probably a good little window in which to do some kind of pressure. We see 92 supply to 86, so Pike's actually doing okay on that front. He's been journeying up quite heavily, though he has a decent standing army, and Bizzy's feeling confident heading all the way out into the middle of the map straight away here.
Pike's Spire has finished. The first set of Scourge are on the way. Bizzy hasn't seen the Scourge, so he's going to be a little bit aggressive with his Science Vessel. Ooh, Pike losing 3 lurkers.
Yeah, nice job by Bizzy there, managing to get in and snipe them. And Pike now setting up in the middle of the map. Looks like he's actually going to bury his lurkers down right here, or maybe he's going to try and get some sort of big flank. Those lurkers are looking a little bit alone, all clumped up there at the side of the map. And Bizzy's just going to be heading around to the right. I think he's expecting the base to be down here, this normal expansion area at the top of the big ramp, but it's not. So Bizzy's going to be a little bit disappointed there when he sees there's nothing for him to take out. And he should probably get scouting around and scout that top left-hand base. But all the while, it looks like this is actually panicking a little bit. He could have got around and got a nice flank off on the army, but it's a bit too late now, and he's going to have to take a defensive position instead. But Bizzy looking a little bit vulnerable here. He needs to maybe pull back a little bit to really make advantage of this kind of choke point rather he's got going on here.
Yep, Bizzy's closing in here, getting his tanks into a very dangerous position. Now Pike's going for the attack. He has a pretty good surround, but only on one side. Is it going to be enough? He seems to be breaking through, and it looks like, yes, he does have enough Lings this time to push through, and Bizzy's army will be completely taken out.
Yeah, but all the while we have a dropship going into the top left-hand base where the third is going down. That hatchery is not going to survive, so whilst Bizzy loses the bulk of his army, I should say pretty much his entire army, apart from those 2 siege tanks, which might just manage to survive home, although the speedlings will probably catch him. He has managed to take out the Zerg's third. Nice little bit of multitasking by him, making a disaster into kind of an equalising success, if you like. Losing track of his minerals a little bit, but keeping fairly decent macro throughout that. Pike doing the same, almost going up to 1k, but getting back on it now. His evolution chamber is still not working, but he does manage to have 1-1 actually now, so he has been using that throughout this game. And yeah, Pike's going to have to find a new location to throw up another third.
Indeed, being 2 base versus 2 base at this point in the game is a great position for Terran, and I'm a little bit intrigued by Bizzy's composition here. He's going for a very slow mech switch. He keeps adding on 1 factory at a time. He has 3 and now a 4th one. So there's going to be some kind of funky biomech play, which can be kind of hard to execute when you don't have either the big bulk of Marines or the big bulk of siege tanks, but can be quite effective if managed correctly. Let's load up another dropship. We'll see where that's going. As you can see, a lot of the Zerglings around the map have gone, so less likely that Pike will scout that out, but still a good number. It's possible that Bizzy flies over 1.
Yeah, there is a good chance that he'll do that. He's heading out, actually. That dropship not quite full, but should be still pretty damaging. It would be very, very nice for him if he get up to that base and take out the third yet again. I think that Zerling is probably going to spot the dropship, although he seems to be taking it over the high ground, which is a pretty good call. Scouting out a little bit with a few Marines just to make sure that the path is clear, and he will be well served in doing so. Missing one or two Zerglings on the way, so this dropship might actually get caught out. The Zerg army is moving into position, and Scourge with it. Will he be able to see it? No, I think he will just not see it. Such close stuff, and little will Bizzy know just how close he came to losing his dropship. Has taken a pretty major blow there. Some Marines heading down to the left hand side of the map to do God knows what. The dropship moves into Pike's main, and he pulls his drones very, very quickly, meaning he's going to take minimal economic damage. The Hydra stem will probably go down, or maybe even more importantly, the Defiler Mound before Consume happens. The Zerg army is rushing back, but Bizzy isn't stimming. He's not using this drop effectively at all. Finally stims, and he's going to move out to try and take out some tech. It's way too late. That Defiler Mound is going to survive. Loses the dropship as well. But meanwhile, his army is heading out into the map, and let's see what he can do with this. The Zerg army is in a terrible, terrible position. The whole Zerg army heading back into the main to try and get rid of one tiny drop. I think this is a massive error in judgment by Pike, and this could lead Bizzy into a fantastic position, able to lay down mines outside the main and make life really incredibly difficult for our Zerg player here.
Yeah, Pike with great reaction timing in that he pulled his drones away immediately, moved his army back. But as you said, he moved his entire army back into his main base, allowing Mech to get this great map positioning. And that was the advantage that Pike had. Bizzy did not have map control for his Mech switch, but just gave it all away. Or Pike just gave it all away, and now Bizzy... Oh, Bizzy is sieging up at a very dangerous location. And Pike's going to have to use some amazing swarms and some amazing surrounds to get back into this. That being said, Pike is known for his surrounds better than any other Zerg player.
Yeah, nice radiate going down there from Bizzy. And yeah, he's going to have to get some really, really nice battling positions here, because that's quite a lot of siege tanks up already, unless he gets incredibly superb positions. And it looks like Pike's going to throw away a whole bunch of units, trying to get some mine drags, but not managing a single one so far. And those lurkers are going to go straight into mines. That could be really, really bad. Taking a couple of lurkers. Oh, those are some big hits. Losing a few lurkers on the route there, along with a bunch of Hydralists and Zerglings. But Silence Vessels does go down, however, so that's going to be a nice little bit of a windfall for Pike. Bizzy should have a fresh Silence Vessel coming on any second now. He's going to keep dashing these lurkers in. Don't know if this is the best idea, but Bizzy might get so many tanks caught if he's not very, very careful. He needs to pull those back right now. Does do so, not before losing most of his health, and it looks like it might actually be in fact possible for Pike to clean this up if he micros effectively and brings in some reinforcements for those lurkers.
Oh, that looks so dangerous for Pike for a moment there. Bizzy just did not have the Bioforce to really punish that, and Pike was actually able to do some good damage on a lot of those tanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another dropship going down with 2 tanks. It looks like they're going to go and try to siege up on this high ground here. Yeah. And Pike's army slowly moving out as Bizzy is also sieging down Pike's third. It looks like this base will go down once again, although the lurkers are doing a lot of damage to those tanks. Meanwhile, the tanks have now dropped, so Pike has 2 bases under siege at this point. It looks like he's going to be able to clean up the siege tanks at the third relatively easily. He doesn't lose that much, although the Hydra did take a bunch of damage. But now he has to deal with these 2 siege tanks up here with... Oh, that's going to be pretty hard to deal with. No Mutalisks right now.
Very, very, very difficult to these tanks to be... These tanks are going to be so cost efficient just sat there on the high ground. This is always a good move on this map to just lay some stuff down there. The lurkers and GG from Pike. Yeah, probably a sensible decision. Bizzy just spreading out across the map, looking very, very dangerous, and Pike decides to GG out. So great job by Bizzy, doing a fantastic job of playing the game there. A little bit of an early GG though, I feel. He might have been still in it.
His economy was so bad. He had no drones at either his natural or his third, and he had no good way of dealing with the siege tanks. Yeah, it felt a little bit premature, but I agree. He really had very little chance to come back in that game.
Yeah. So nice job there by Bizzy. Very, very impressive couple of games there. Yeah, looking forward to going to be seeing more of him. Nice play from Pike also, but sadly unable to take him down in the first 2 matches.
Game is up.
I'm on my way.
And this game is going to be on Bloody Ridge, which I believe is the only map in the round of 32 that we did not get a chance to see at any point during group stages.
Yeah.
So,
I know I'm a huge fan of this map. It always seems to produce kind of long, very slogging kind of games. But we'll see if Bizzy can bring his intense style to it, and Pike can bring some intense surrounds to match. and make it a game well worth watching. So, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have ISL3 Bizzy. Spawning at the top right-hand corner, we have ISL3 Pike. Beginning of the game, once again, what would this tournament be if I didn't give a shout-out to our sponsors? So I'm going to do exactly that now. If I hadn't got rid of the page which told me who they all are. This is a disaster, everybody. Okay, I've got them back. We would like to thank Altitude, who have, of course, created the fantastic indie game Altitude, which you can find if you go over to altitudeisl.net, which is the website for this tournament. You can link directly to their website from there and play the game for free because they are lovely people like that. We'd also like to thank Prowler, Twitch TV, and I believe Corum Jahalan as well. And what are you knowing about?
I'm knowing about the 5 pool.
Oh, I echo your sentiment.
It's like he's just like moving down the peg. The slaying standard didn't work out, so Lurker Ling Bust didn't work out, so 5 pool. The LRM 5 pool.
You can understand why he's doing it, because as you said, things just aren't looking good for him today, and he's just kind of throwing it to luck, fluke, whatever happens. Bizzy all the while looks like he's going to be walling in at the front. And how does this play with a 5 pool?
If Barracks doesn't make a complete wall there, he needs to throw down 2 buildings.
Which he's not going to do. That's not even anything like a complete wall.
Yeah, that's. I don't know what that is at all. But building the barracks far away from your command center can be quite dangerous against a 5 pool.
Yeah.
And Pike obviously can't go in the wrong direction as this is a 2-player map. The barracks should be able to finish just in time, but the issue is he has no way of protecting the Marines. There's obviously no bunker down, and it takes too long to pull the SCVs all the way over. So
yeah, it's going to take a scary while. He is going to see these lings just before the crucial moment at which he'd be absolutely screwed for sure. But that SCV takes a lot of hits. Going to be running away now, however, and as those lings head towards the base of Bizzy, he's going to have to come up with something good now. And I think he's probably going to lay down a building to try and desperately wall in. But I don't really know how well this is going to go.
Yeah, that's not tight, and I don't even think that barracks can't be tight with the right wall. But here comes Pike. We're going to see it. The first Marine is just barely going to be able to get out, but that's only 1 Marine. And he actually is focusing on the supply depot. Is that tight with both the barracks in?
It looks like it is.
Anyway, this time focusing down the constructing buildings, so we figured that out at least from game 1, and he is focusing down SCVs one by one, pulling back the injured lings, keeping all of them alive until just losing them now. But now they're all relatively weak, and there are 2 Marines out,
no.
and only a single ling with 6 health remains.
Oh no!
Oh no!
What a disastrous turn of events! I am astounded that is a complete warning. Look at that gap on the right-hand side. Just look at that. That is a huge gap. But I
guess.
Yeah, Pike's looking rough as hell here. He needs to break this now or never, or do something very, very weird and transition into tech.
No, that supply depot is going to finish.
Impossible.
He has 2 great holes for the Marines to fit, and Pike 0-3's out of the round of 32. Huge upset by Bizzy, just completely dominating that series.
Yeah, really. It's kind of a big upset. It's not a big upset that Bizzy won, but it's a big upset that he won 3-0.
3-0 in the way that he did.
Yeah, he just looked so incredibly dominant throughout all those games.
I didn't even click that.
I don't really click.
My bad.
Go fine.
We're fine. Sorry.
Don't forget to reassociate it on Team Liquid.
Wait, I'm not on Team Liquid? Wait. Oh shit, the stream went down? The stream went down. Oh, awesome.